pipe and then like
Really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Actually, Cool's gonna do our intro this week. How does that sound? After that,
you on my face.
Yeah, you have to do it now.
Welcome to the Lawler podcast with me, CoolCole93, Johnny Boy, and Lawler. I hope that was exciting for everybody.
that was amazing.
Great, good.
Welcome to That's the Thing, week 11, with myself, Lawler, and Johnny Boy, our guest this week, CoolCole93, at the bottom there. But for those that aren't aware, That's the Thing is a weekly podcast where myself and Johnny, we discuss imperative topics in the Rocket League community, joined by a special guest each week. Special guest wave, if you'd like.
Hello.
Yeah.
There he is.
I'm special.
But we dive into news, gossip, all while trying to keep it serious but also lighthearted to an extent, because we have a big focus on the community and the content they create, because at the end of the day, that is what the thing is. We talked about the community being a big role, so we try to invite you guys into this as much as possible. Thank you to Atice dropping a TTT in chat, kind of explaining it all in all as well. But if you guys do have any questions, make sure you guys save them to the end of the show, because we will do and finish with a live Q&A. If it's not past Cole's bedtime and would like to stick around for that, I'm sure he'd be totally willing to answer some questions from you guys, as well as Christian when we have him on later as well. But going right down the list on the left-hand side there, first and foremost, we're going to talk about topic number 1, Insomnia 58. Johnny and Cole and Gregan and Shogun all got the chance of having a lot of fun, as well as many others out there. But because this is the section with Cole, if you'd like to introduce yourself, what got you into Rocket League, what's your background, and then we'll kind of get into Insomnia as a whole.
Okay. Hello, everybody. If anyone doesn't know who I am, I'm Cole, or CoolCole93, which has sort of turned into Cole eventually. Thank God I got to drop the cool part of it.
Super cool.
I got into Rocket League. Yeah, I got into Rocket League. I'm old school. I was through Battle Cups. I was way back. I think I was one of the sort of the original crew, really. I got 12,000 forum posts on the old Battle Cups forum. So you know, not to boast or anything, but
have you got the moderator title?
I actually do. Yeah, that's.
You do. That's pretty
where
sick.
I got that from.
That's pretty sick.
That's a big deal.
That's sick, dude.
And I've stuck around, not from my sick Rocket League skills, more from content creation and streaming and writing and stuff. And that's me.
Sweet. Well, let's kind of lead into that then. You guys went to Insomnia. If you want to break down, and this applies to both you and Johnny, what is Insomnia? Obviously, it's Insomnia 58. If you want to give some history, I know Gregan would be a good one for this question. But if you guys want to break down Insomnia, what basically happened, the concept of the LAN, all that kind of stuff.
All right, well, I can give a bit of background to the event, because I nearly went to an I-Series in, like, the 20s. Well, I'm not talking 1920s. I mean, 29 or something. I nearly went to it, but something else came up, so I didn't. But there's for a year, I think, and they happen mostly in England, but they're starting to do Insomnia, Scotland, and that kind of thing as well. So they're all around the UK. Massive LAN. We're talking thousands of people bringing their own PCs and putting them up in these aisles that are especially laid out for the PCs to live on. And yeah, just nerds everywhere. Nerds all over the place. Cosplay and big YouTubers, big Twitch streamers. Dyrus and the odd one from Team Solo Mid were there. They've got like 1.5 million followers on Twitter between them. You know, like massive e-celebrities just milling about the venue. And yeah, we got to go, myself through Gregan, who he has been going to Insomnia for.
Show Gregan some love in chat, boys.
Yeah, Gregan's man. He's been going to I-Series for a couple of years, I believe. He got into it, met some cool people, and started to get into the casting of the Rocket League tournament. And then he wrote me in to do that with himself and Shogun. So it's my first I-Series. Massive fun time, but we're going to talk about that in a bit. And Cole got in there as a special guest, also through Gregan. He just got Cole and a bunch of the Team Rocket guys and Doomsy and some other guys from RLC, a bunch of press passes and special guest lanyards. So that's how we got in. But very briefly, Cole. Insomnia, what have I missed out?
How sick, Johnny Boy, was Insomnia?
It was so sick.
I mean, you were there before I was. You were there you were already casting by the time I even arrived. I arrived on this Saturday.
Drum roll, please.
Fixed it, don't worry. You guys are good.
Who's
Drum roll. okay.
My mic
But
was
yeah,
like, "What's up, dude?" Like,
But you're absolutely right. We got there on Thursday. Myself, Greg, and Shogun.
Yeah.
Thursday night we were hanging out, and then Friday casting, Saturday casting, Sunday hanging out, Monday left. But you were there for Saturday and Sunday.
I got there. So I live in Cambridge. I woke up 7 a.m. Got the train down up to Birmingham for about 10, and then I didn't get back to Cambridge until Monday at about 8 a.m. So on Sunday we had two choices. It was either because we only had the hotel for the Saturday, we could either head home Sunday night as we originally planned to, or we could just say screw it and stay up till Monday morning at like 6 a.m. and then get the very first train.
Easy choice.
And it was an easy choice in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah. I was glad you guys made that choice to stay up all night and just hang out.
I think it was Ryan's idea as well, Doomsy's idea.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a very, very, very fun one.
Mm-hmm.
sounds like you guys had a really, really exciting time. To break down the LAN itself, Johnny, obviously you did some casting. What was the general premises? Like, you guys had a tournament that was going on, if you kind of want to explain that.
Yeah, so the tournament wasn't anything like what we see online in Rocket League tournaments, because the teams that were there, most of them have just, picked up Rocket League or played it a long time ago, and they think, yeah, this would be fun to play in a tournament, just to play with my buddies and get some competitive experience. And all the teams amounted to 38, so there's quite a lot of teams actually. There was a couple of guys doing admin, myself, Greg, and Shogun doing the casting, and that was pretty much it. We were just sitting at the caster desk. We had Skype open to contact the admin. The admin were on Discord with the players, telling them all what to do, telling who would be on stream, setting up lobbies, and we would join the lobbies, say when we're ready, and the players would join. That was pretty much it. We played a Swiss bracket format, which I won't talk about in too much detail, but it's extremely interesting if you want to go and Google it. Just Google a Swiss bracket, just like the country. And that's just a good way to naturally seed teams. When you don't know who's good and who's not so good, Swiss bracket does that for you.
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask, because it ended up with Sector 1 and Crown and Jewels in the finals.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, how did that happen? Because presumably they were the two best teams.
Yeah, they did play each other in the Swiss bracket. The way, briefly how it works is in round one, everybody is no wins, no losses, because obviously it's round one, and you just get randomly seeded against any opponent, just complete random. And then after one game, half the teams will have one win, half the teams will have one loss. So all the teams who have a loss, they'll play against somebody else who has a loss. All the teams who have a win play against somebody else who has a win. And that keeps on happening every round. You have 6 rounds. With 38 teams anyway, you have 6 rounds. And every round you play against somebody who has the same total win-loss ratio as you do. So it just naturally starts making a little bit of a tier list of all the players. By the end of it, some teams do have the same score. I think 4 teams finished off with a 5 wins and 1 loss record after round 6. But then what it does is, if your loss was against a team who were 6-0, then that's obviously not as bad a loss as losing to somebody who's 3-3. So it seeds you in that regard as well. Very clever and a lot of fun, because it creates storylines. Like, we got to see Sector 1 and Crown and Jewels, who did match up in the grand finals. We got to see them play twice. First in the Swiss bracket, then in the upper bracket, then in the grand finals once Crown and Jewels came through losers. So 3 games. Or 3 best-of-5 series that we got to see them play. Really, really good for casting, because we get to make a pretty interesting story about that.
Yeah, for those that aren't aware, during casting, I mean, the biggest thing that we get to work with is storylines. So when you have teams able to come back or fight or see them multiple times in occurrence, it allows you to build that story. So that's really cool. It's part of the benefits of why I really like Swiss tournament styles as well. But I know you guys have a lot of fun at the LAN, not just from casting and being a part of it, but I know you guys have some stories that you would like to share regarding that. I heard originally you weren't even able to get in, Cole.
Oh yeah, so who was it that arrived? So a bunch of us from my streamy side of things, a bunch of our regular viewers and subs and mods and stuff had come along with us and were meeting us there. So they'd bought their tickets, but the 3 of us that were receiving a ticket from the big man Gregan, who'd organised everything, it was me, Stumpy Goblin, my streaming partner, and Doomsy. So we arrived, we got our little lanyard things, we were all chuffed, we went up to the booth, and we said, hello, can we have the bands that we need to actually get in? And she sort of looks at us, she asks our name, she looks at our lanyard, and she goes, no. She looked at us like we were actually trying to break in. And we were like, I think we're VIP, it says, look, we're special.
Yeah.
No, you are not special at all. I don't care about you. So then we scrabbled around, we asked people, we waited around. Eventually, Johnny came to.
Yeah, because Gregan would have sorted this out instantly, but he was casting. So I was the one on a break. There was 3 of us, so 2 of us would cast at any time, and we just rotated. And I was the one on a break, so I was like, right, I'm gonna go and try and trick the lady at the desk and get them in here. Scottish charm, I guess that's one way of putting it. So I just went up, and what did I do? What did I say again?
You know what you said. You referred to us. You referred to me as
did.
Rocket League Pros. And when you said that, I was
Pros.
I am.
Stumping up what I call Rocket League Pros. They're legit. We got to get them in here. Like, loads of people have come to the venue to see them. We got to get them in quickly. They're gonna be fans in their masses, and it worked.
We still needed a bit of Gregan magic after that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Even with you referring to me as a Rocket
Well,
League
we got you a stamp, so like a temporary stamp thing.
Yeah, that's it.
So that would have got you in, but it would have worn off. And Gregan got you a proper full-time band thing that
Big boy band.
clamp on, big boy band.
So it was
I was pretty happy. It would have got you in.
To be honest, it was a cool way to meet. Do you know what I mean? Like something.
It was.
We meet, you and me, and it's like we got something to do straight away. There's not.
There's no messing around.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I see Greg and he's already on it. He marches towards us and he goes, right, I've got something to fix. Let's fix it.
Yeah. Greg, he knows everybody at the event. I've said this in my stream. He's just a massive slut. He just knows all the people. We're walking around and every 5 meters somebody's like, Gregan, and he's like, oh, my best friend ever. I love you. You're my favorite person at all Insomnia. They go away. And the next person, oh yeah, hello, my favorite person at Insomnia. Love you. So
wait not to throw Gregan under the bus.
Yeah,
no, it's cool. I mean,
but for real, he's good at networking, or else we wouldn't have had the chance to go there.
I mean, he's been doing it for a long time.
Networking ability. That's
I got to.
You just got to say hello to people.
Yeah, I got to listen to you talk about kind of the origins with Gregan being there. I mean, he was big with the Minecraft community, and then the first time that they did Rocket League, it was just 2 guys that he helped, and then they kind of gave him the reins to, and he was able to bring in other guys that actually knew what they were really talking about with you and Shogi. So stuff like that made it a better experience, and you can tell. I mean, the viewership alone. Johnny, I know you and I were talking about this, like viewership. How did you guys stack up against the rest of the events there?
Yeah, so Rocket League actually had the highest average viewership out of all of the little tournament streams. There's one big tournament stream, and all the games in the grand finals got to take turns being on that stream. But the little productions that we had, so myself, Greg, and Shogun ran the Rocket League one, and there was a CSGO production to our left, Overwatch, League of Legends, I think Dota 2 were there. All these big titles didn't really have many good numbers in their streams, and we managed to get pretty respectable numbers, especially for a Rocket League tournament with that caliber of play on show. But we didn't really have to ask for massive hosts from people and say, come on, just watch the broadcast. I know it's going to suck, but watch it. It was just a lot of fun, interviewing people in between games. I mean, why put up a big 35-minute countdown when you could just get Cole and Doomsy to sit down with myself or Shogun and just chat to them on the stream for 5 or 10 minutes. So we just did a lot of that, a lot of filler, but it was a lot of fun, basically just improvising, making it up as we go along, making the gaps gain viewers rather than lose viewers.
And that's awesome too. I mean, Cole, for that reason alone, like you mentioned that you're a SARP vet, right? So obviously. Most of the SARP vets in the community are also either still competitive players or otherwise, and you seem to take a different approach to it. Like, you still got quite a bit of recognition at I58. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, I mean, like 2 people said hello to me. Well, actually, 1 person fanboyed over me, and I was like, "Whoa, this was weird."
Yeah.
They even said the word "I'm fanboying," and I was like, "Okay, hi, you're right."
And 1 person called you Team Rocket as well.
Yeah, people were like Team
Cole,
Rocket.
You're just Team Rocket.
I'll take
the whole
that.
team.
I'll take
That's
being
awesome.
known as like a failure of a team. I'll sort of be personified by that. There was another guy that I was with Ryan. I was with Doomsy, and he clearly wanted Doomsy's autograph. And he sort of came up to me and he went, "Hey, it's Doomsy, yeah!" And then he sort of looked at me. As Doomsy was signing, he sort of looked at me and he goes, "Oh, Cole, can I have your autograph too?" I'm like, "Yeah, go on then. It'll be more awkward for us." Just to make it not awkward, I signed it too.
Doomsy had probably the funniest run-in with a fan as well, because he was playing in a 1v1 tournament against some poor little unsuspecting victim who didn't realize that he was about to lose by 20-0 or something. So Doomsy goes up 2-0 in like 5 seconds. Stumpy says to Doomsy, "Doomsy, go easy on him." And then the little kid just looks at Doomsy and says, "You're Doomsy." And Doomsy's like, "Yeah, man, I'm Doomsy." He's like, I've seen you on YouTube because obviously Doomsy's not got his face cam on for his videos. It's just a player. So so now to that boy, Doomsy was just an Octane, and then he suddenly realizes he's sitting beside Doomsy in person, and he's about to get trashed, and he's like, "Oh no, oh no!" And his friends are like, "Hey, you're about to get smashed," and he did. Doomsy won the whole thing. So that was probably my favorite, fan to pro recognition moment of the whole weekend. Really funny.
Johnny? You had a load of people.
Yeah, quite a few people come up and say, "Are you Johnny?" Or "Oh, can I get a picture? I'm a big fan of your stream." My favorite one was a couple of kids. They told me they were 8 years old and 6 years old, and they said that they're massive fans of my stream. So I didn't realize I was reaching that demographic, but that's the cutest thing ever. It's these little.
You're saying that to your 6-year-olds watching.
It's like pre-scrub killer, man. Like, it's as young as it gets.
There was someone who sent me a tweet saying, "Oh, it was great meeting." This was after Saturday night when we all got very drunk. Yeah. And there was someone sent me a tweet saying, "Oh, it was great meeting you last night, Cole." And I was like, "I don't remember. I'm really sorry. I have no memory of meeting this person." So that felt a bit bad.
Terrible.
We should talk about Saturday night actually, and then I've got something that I want to segue off the back of that. Saturday was fun.
Saturday was fun, wasn't it?
It was good.
Yeah, I mean, you guys.
Ruined on Saturday.
I mean, you guys talked about. I mean, I don't know if this was Saturday or Sunday. I think this happened after. So if you guys want to talk about Saturday before we talk about how you guys kind of venued off and did some stuff going in between the rows.
Oh yeah, that was the very last thing we did.
Yeah. So if you guys want to talk about Saturday first.
So pub quiz, Cole, do you want to briefly go over that? Because we didn't know what to expect, but it wasn't your regular.
Gregan had been hyping it up, hadn't he? Gregan, whenever we were talking about Insomnia, Gregan was like, "You've got to come to the pub quiz," and I was like, "The pub quiz, where they ask questions and you have a pint and don't talk to each other." But it was damn good, really. What it was, I can't really remember a lot of it.
Well, we just arrived at this table, which was supposed to be our table, but it had been nicked by some other people, so we nicked someone else's table.
Oh, is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Is that why we got all that free beer?
Somebody took our table, so we took someone else's table, and we just got a whole bunch of free beer. There was like 40 beers on the table, 40 beer bottles, and we made a pretty big dent in that beer bottle stash, even though a lot of the guys didn't even like beer. Stumpy was opening them with his teeth. He's a machine.
That was weird,
He was opening beer bottles with his teeth. And he pointed at one of his teeth and said, "This one I broke doing this, so now I've moved on to another tooth." He's just working his way around his mouth.
Rather than stopping and, saving his teeth, he's like, "Nope, next one."
Next.
We don't give up in Britain, do we? We think, right, one tooth's gone, on to the next.
Explains a lot, I guess.
I actually went around and I met my World of Warcraft guild at the pub quiz. They had a table, and I found them, and I've been keeping in touch with one of those guys for 9 years. We used to play World of Warcraft 9 years ago. And I've been playing League of Legends, StarCraft 2, Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, even Rocket League when it first came out with this guy. And I found out that he was going to be at the LAN, because they've been going to tons of I-Series together with my old WoW guild. I don't play WoW anymore, but if I did, I'd rejoin that guild, because they were cool to meet in person. Finally,
they were there?
After 9 years. I heard that they were going to be there, because my friend, who I've been keeping in touch with, messaged me to say that he was so excited he was going to get to meet Dyrus and the Odd One at I-Series. And I said, "You'll never guess who else you're going to meet. I'm casting the Rocket League tournament." He says, "No way." So after 9 years, finally got to meet an internet friend.
That's so cool.
Good experience, not gonna lie.
Pretty sweet. Now, so after pub quiz, you then Sunday started up. You guys had the finals and stuff. You want to talk about how the rest of the LAN played out, and then you can talk about what you guys kind of did after that.
Oh, the finals was actually before the pub quiz. So
it was.
That was the
you
thing.
You guys finished up Saturday, and then Sunday was the 1v1 tournament then, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Sunday was 1v1 tournament, yeah.
That's the thing that was really different from RLCS and I-Series was RLCS we had the grand finals, then a party, then everybody went home. For Rocket League, the grand finals happened, then we had a party, then we went to bed, woke up the next day, and went back and did some more LANing. So that was really awesome. Got to go and do a 1v1 tournament, which you did pretty well in, Cole. Actually, you did.
Yeah.
You won some money.
Well, spoilers, mate. I could have talked people through my epic battle to get to the semi-finals.
How much money?
Well,
okay, yeah. Let's phrase this to kind of give contrast. Cole, how much money have you won before Insomnia?
In prize money, is that if I round up, it's about absolutely nothing. Zero.
Okay. Killing
That's
it,
rounding
killing it.
up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got to
And then
finals, but it's always finals where second place doesn't get paid, you know.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So then after this tournament, how are you doing in the prize money? And you can even
Um,
round
it,
up on this one.
uh, in Insomnia, the first thing I won was a little stuffed dragon toy because I did some
Oh,
standard
yeah.
solo online and I scored 10 goals. And he said if you score 5, you can have a little dragon toy. And I scored 10 because it was like against unranked people. And I was like, God, I'm good at Rocket League again. And then, and then in the 1v1 tournament, I mean, there were however many of us there were of us, like 10 of us. And it was basically luck of the draw who got to avoid Doomsy to get to the final.
Yeah.
I met Shogun in the semi-finals, who beat me. So I was in the third place
What's good
playoff.
though? What's
I did
good?
all right actually. Yeah, I mean,
What's the rate to
one,
Shogun?
I'm crap, but two, I never play 1v1, so I only lost by a goal. So I was pretty happy with that.
Mhm.
And then in the third place playoff, the big game, I beat one of our mods, Terziak, and I got £25.
Killing it,
Alright.
dude. Killing
Yeah.
it. It's a good.
Cash there and then.
Small round.
couple-
Yeah.
I actually
couple-
bought quite a big round, so I probably
Like,
lost over.
how many
after one
candy
round.
bars is that? Like 25
Oh.
pounds?
Oh, a lot.
Enough to make you diabetic
There you go.
easily.
Perfect. It's more than you need, man. Killing it. Killing it. It's awesome. So then after the 1v1, congrats to Doomsy for taking that. Played very, very well from what I've heard. And making kids fanboy and then tilting off the face of the earth. But then you guys decided to take it one step further. Not only did you guys play in the tournament, but then you guys also decided to go pester some people, I heard. But in a very cool way. If you guys want to talk about that.
Well, we managed to, we got everybody together again. And actually Woody and his brother AFN showed up, which was awesome getting to meet those guys. So everybody showed up. We hung out
Do you want
with
to
them.
do you want to talk about why that's such a huge deal?
Oh,
Like Woody?
well, for a start, Woody is like one of the most universally loved people in the Rocket League community. He's up there with, Gibbs
Big dog.
and Doomsy, you
Cloud
throw
Man?
other people. Yeah, Dig Dog. Nobody hates these guys. Woody is up there. He's like one of the most loved people. Just give an idea of like how big that was. Like I got a picture with Woody and his brother AFN right as soon as they showed up at the venue. Stuck it on Twitter. Then we went to watch a show for about an hour. Watched a comedy show. Came back and my phone's got like 100 notifications of people just retweeting, liking, responding to that tweet just because there's a
Yeah.
picture of Woody in at I-Series. So cool to meet those guys. Really, really awesome. Everybody loves Woody.
Yeah, and I love to see that too because in the community, and you even see that. I mean, we see the whole issue with Gambit, having anxieties about stuff like that, and having troubles doing that. And now even he's starting to go play Pokemon Go with some of the community. You have
Yeah.
people like Woody showing up to lands and stuff. So it's really cool to see that a video game can really bring people out of that shell and kind of get that initial hump of getting over that anxiety and kind of just testing the waters with it is phenomenal. To see that out of a community is unbelievable.
It
It
was
was so
very,
nice.
Sorry,
Yeah,
it was
Jenny.
just the tweet that Woody said that really like shed some light on this. Is he tweeted out, "Mum, I left the house."
Yeah,
He's
that's what I
like
was gonna
so-
say.
His mum's so proud of him for leaving the house just because he goes to go to a Rocket League, hang out with Rocket League friends at a big LAN. That was awesome.
There was also
Yeah,
a
good one.
really, really lovely moment between Woody and his brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do you remember I told you that when we were walking back to the
Yeah,
hotel
this is
last
amazing.
night?
This is
Where
amazing.
his brother came along, Big Bad AFN, as he's affectionately known, and when we were streaming on the last day, obviously Woody he was chatting away with everyone, and I was worried that it was like a bit too much for him, because obviously we don't want to overwhelm him or anything. And I turned around to look at those two because it was just those two there, and they were just sort of like hanging out. And then AFN just sort of like ruffled Woody's hair, and I thought, oh, that is so lovely. It was like probably
Yeah.
such a lovely moment, And I
No words
Some
were
shit you see in a
exchanged.
movie, like you
Yeah.
turn back and it's just
It
like
was, it
everybody's
was.
talking and then it pans out to those two that are like way in the back and like zooms in and it's like that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
No words
It's
were
so
exchanged.
lovely.
Just a little hair
No,
ruffle.
exactly. It was
They're
really,
the
really
nicest
sort of
guys.
heartfelt and
I love
genuine,
them.
Yeah.
You've got to meet them. That's like the main reason to go to I59 is so you can meet Woody and AFN. Genuinely, the top reason. I texted Marky to say just met Woody and AFN, and he was like, "No, I should have gone to Insomnia." I'm kidding. Kid you not. He was like, he was so sad that he didn't go to Insomnia purely because Woody and AFN were there. That really should tell you how much of a impression they've made to people online because they were start bets as well.
Yeah. They're just so
Even
honest,
Rocket
aren't they? Woody's just so sort of he never puts anything on. You know, he is
Oh, just
himself
nice guy.
completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So meeting those guys, get everybody back together, and then you guys start going row by row, looking for Rocket League players.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of elaborate on that.
Yeah, that was my idea. I just wanted to do something because I saw Stumpy was falling asleep. Cole was looking for something to do, so I said, guys, let's just walk up and down every aisle. There's like thousands of computers. We're going up an aisle, down an aisle, up an aisle, and stop at everybody playing Rocket League and just
This was 4
start
a.m.
a
on Sunday.
conversation with them.
Morning.
Yeah, 4 a.m.
Monday morning,
Monday morning.
technically.
Yeah, we met some very interesting people. Cole will tell you about a few of them.
Yeah, so we this, bear in mind, as it was so late on in the not only the day but also the event, the computers, the rows and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of computers were basically completely empty, right? So there were only, I think we estimated maybe 20% of the computers were actually being used at that point.
Yeah.
Let alone how many of those were playing Rocket League, because we only, you know, we only had time for the Rocket League because we don't want to talk to any
I've
elite
always talked to
legend
other games.
bastards, no. So we were going row and then row and then row and then row, and finally we met our first group of people who actually weren't playing Rocket League. They stopped us. We said,
They
"Excuse
stopped
me,
us.
we were
Yeah.
going to the next lot." And they were like, "All right, boys, do you want a drink? Do you want some Jaeger?" And we
They
were
showed
like,
us the Tower
yeah.
of Power, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah,
Tower
like,
of Power.
these manky-looking plastic cups.
Oh.
They were like brown splodge at the bottom of them.
They
Alcohol.
kept all of their used cups from Jaeger.
And they were showing us. One of the lads showed us. Basically, what happened with these lot is we chatted with them for a bit. One of them showed us his receipt that had a 300 quid round on it. They showed us a picture of like 100 Jaegers in a row or whatever in a line.
Yeah.
And then we chatted more. They showed us some £10,000 supercomputer that Nate had or something. And then one of them threw up in a bin.
He just like said, before we do anything else, I've just got to throw up. And he like casually walked over to this bin. And he's like,
Yeah.
the thing with this is like you just want to stay really, really calm as he's
Mm.
walking. He's like, no rush, just keep going, don't stop. But when you get there, that's when you let it all out. And he just like arrives at the bin, very, very timely fashion, vomits in the bin, and then he's just back
Quiet
to
as well, wasn't
back
it?
to conversation.
Remember, it was like a whisper sick.
It was very gentle, yeah. It was quite a thing
It
to
was
see.
the classiest sick I've ever seen.
Oh,
if
it's
none
so
of
classy.
if none of you clip what Cole just did, like that face and that motion, I'm ashamed of all of you. And if none of you make it into an emote, I'm even more mad because that
Oh
was
my goodness,
phenomenal.
Yeah, dude.
Slow sick
No.
Cole.
Feels good.
So that was them. We sort of eventually left them. They did give us, they were true to their word, they gave us some Jaeger, which is very nice of them.
They did. And used cups. Just
Mate, free alcohol. If it's got brown splodge at the bottom of it, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
take it. So then we
Yeah,
moved on a
we
bit, and we saw our first Rocket League group, didn't we?
yeah.
There was,
Just they wanted
They
to play
were-
against you. I think that
Oh,
was the
yeah.
first people.
you and I did some 2v2s against them, didn't we? You were,
Yeah.
it was Emma and Tanya
Emma,
or
we were
something?
Emma and Tanya. We were Emma and Tanya's, or we were on Emil
Yeah.
and Tanya's season. Even had
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
with
It was
and
Emmy,
Tanya.
wasn't it?
Emmy and Tanya.
That's the first time
Uh,
you and I ever played together on a team, Johnny.
Smashed them. Absolutely wiped the floor
Screw
with
it.
them. We're like, how can we
Screw it.
encourage them to stick with the Rocket League? They've only played 6 and 7 hours each. We'll just absolutely demolish them in 2v2.
Yeah.
But the benefit of that
I mean-
too is it also entices them because if they have that competitive sense in them, they're going to be like, this is what's capable of at a higher level, right? Like this is
Yeah,
somewhat
they were cheering a
something
lot.
to look
They were
forward to,
laughing
you
a lot.
know? So
They were like, time we scored, like if you jumped off the ground, they were calling that an aerial. So we were getting
Not
up
just an
really-
aerial, Johnny.
Oh, fat aerial.
Fat aerial.
Fat aerial.
This
So like,
woman.
you
That is
guys,
a fat
there's some people
aerial.
talking about that in chat. Do you guys want to explain what a fat aerial is?
Well, this is the meme that's going to take over the Rocket League community. Everyone in here, you have a responsibility to make... And casters, Lawler, Johnny, I'm talking to you guys especially, and Gregan, I know you're in here, any other casters, you have to make fat aerial a thing, okay? Anytime someone scores a sick aerial, or even a bad one, you go, that is a fat
it
aerial.
has,
Or really-
it has to be a really
emphasize it.
rubbish aerial because
Okay.
none of the goals we scored were particularly good, but they were really impressed by them. So it's like overreacting to a rubbish aerial. That's what a fat aerial is. The fattest of
Alright.
it. Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I
fat one.
lose my mind over like the most pathetic aerial I've ever seen on the RLCS. And if you
Alright,
guys don't spam fat aerial in chat, I'm upset. So that's up to you
So
guys.
who's going to be the first to get the next sub milestone and get like their thing, fat aerial? They're going to make a lot of money. It's a race now.
Exactly.
Sounds fun.
That
Sounds
is
fun.
good.
But it sounds like you had a really good time. And there's two sides of that. Not only did you get, Johnny to have fun with the aspect of being a caster and actually seeing the kind of behind the scenes stuff and being a part of that, Cole, you got to experience not only walking around and seeing both sides of it, but you also got to be a part of the crowd. You got to be a fan of the game. Do you want to explain, like, for why some that may have never been to a LAN or those that aren't aware that the crowd does play a very large role in a LAN environment? There's a couple factors that go into it. The energy involved. It helps us as casters. Do you want to tell us kind of your experience on it and like how you choose who to root for, all that kind of stuff? Because I know you guys had some fun games with being whether it be blue or orange, stuff like that. You want to elaborate on that?
Well, we knew we wanted to do a drinking game for the because we're British and we like drinking and we were in a crowd, we're like, right, let's get drunk to it, right? So, and because neither of the teams are sort of known team, well, they are actually. No,
yeah, they're
known-ish, aren't they? Yeah. So what I meant was, we didn't want all of us cheering for one team. None of us knew who to support whom. You know what I mean? So we had to find a way to decide that. So before the game started, a bunch of us said, right, I'll be the orange team because it hadn't been announced yet. A bunch of us were the orange team. A bunch of us were the blue one. And it ended up with me supporting Sector 1 and Doomsy and a bunch of others supporting Crown and Jewels.
Yeah, Doomsy and Pash, from what I saw.
That's it, yeah. That was Doomsy and Pash, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we were against each other already then. So that means that as well as just cheering, we were trying to out-cheer each other. Like, if my team scored, Stumpy, who I was next to, was going mental. And if the others scored, then Doomsy and Pash had to, like, out-shout us. So that was already sort of getting things more hyped up. The drinking game rules, if anyone's interested, that we came up with, and these are, as drinking game rules always are, up for interpretation. If anyone has any better ideas, feel free to put them forward. But, okay, so you got your pint, right? If the ball hits the ceiling, for a Amoeba team, that's one sip or
a pull
drink or whatever you want to call it, yeah. If it hits the crossbar, that's 2. And if your team concedes, that's 3. And if it gets to a deciding match, those double. So if it went 3-all in a best of 7, that would double.
Mm-hmm.
And after every time your team lost, you had to do a shot. Although I don't think we actually did that in the end.
Yeah.
But they are the
probably good
official.
Idea.
They're the semi-official drinking
like
game, Rocket League drinking game rules. And just being in the crowd was so brilliant. It was such good fun. Think about it. We were in a row, like, just coming backwards, right? It wasn't like we were in a massive stadium or anything. We were just in a row going backwards. The only people who were being really loud were us lot in the top right. And we were still going mental and getting so into it. Imagine that just times however many
that times 100
people. Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, we can get lots of people along there. And even with that, even with only a small crowd, there was a lot of other people who were having a lot of fun watching it, but they're just too afraid to, show it. So clearly they didn't drink enough in your drinking game, or they, just haven't been to enough events. Because a lot of the people that I talked to, they said that they hadn't really seen Rocket League played competitively. And besides not realizing how 3D the game is, because a lot of people just drive around on the ground and they don't realize that aerials and wall shots and things are in the game. So they were like blown away by that. They're like, wow, this is a 3D game. I had never knew that. These guys are insane. And also, this is so much fun to watch. Like, any goal is exciting. So it's such a good spectator esport. So a lot of fun. And from a casting perspective, I wish that we could have heard the crowd in our ears, because that would have given us even more energy. Like, obviously, we were pretty full of energy with the format that we did it, and excited to be casting our first LAN finals for myself and Shogun. And I think for Gregan as well, he was super excited to be casting. So it was very easy for us to, channel that energy through the microphone. Or I certainly hope it was. It definitely felt very natural for me. And I watched back at the cast, and I was pretty happy with how it sounded. But overall, get along to these events, watch Rocket League in person. It's a whole other experience from watching Rocket League online. Like, I can say that because I was at the RLCS LAN, so I did get a chance to spectate Rocket League there. Incredible. It's just so much fun.
But I can see it being frustrating if the crowd isn't into it. You really, if you're in the crowd, I think that the fans of Rocket League, people who are want to be those people that sit in crowds for years to come. I think crowds have got as much a responsibility as players and casters and organizations and everything to make it exciting. I'm confident that by being there,
they did a good job, because the production guys told me that they didn't know what to put on the stream, because they've got a big camera to look at the crowd, a camera to look at the casters, one camera for each team, and obviously the game. So there's 5 main cameras. And he said that he was spoiled for choice because there was just so much emotion and so much energy on all the different cameras that he couldn't decide which one to put on. Whereas a lot of other esports, it's a bit like, well, the crowd aren't even watching. The casters are just having a casual conversation. The teams are just chilling and looking around, and nothing's happening on the game screen. So they don't really know what to do. They're like, well, this is pretty tough finding anything interesting to put on the screen. But for
And as well,
you have an opposite problem. Like, there's just so much to do. You're like,
and
we
also,
need more cameras.
the presenters on stage, the hype people, you know, the 2 girls that were organised by Insomnia. It must make their job so much easier. If the crowd's loving it, it must make them easier to go, and next we've got this team, you know, like, and really get into it. They don't have to fake anything.
Yeah, there's nothing fabricated. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
people
they would, though. If no one was watching it, they'd be on the stage in front of no one, going, and next it's this team, knowing that no one's going to clap and cheer. Do you know what I mean?
Get that weird laugh track. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just be like stony silent. So it makes their job easier too, which then makes it more entertaining to watch on the other side of the screen, you know, watching it on a computer.
Exactly.
Yeah, people don't understand how much the crowd really does play a role. And that applies towards online tournaments as well as otherwise. I mean, having people in chat that are really interactive and cheering for everything, it makes a big difference. People at the LAN. When we were casting the RLCS, we could hear the crowd. And it made it so easy. Sometimes there are games that are a little less hype than others, and it's tough when you're on Beckwith Park and you hear crickets and you have to give the most exciting goal. Like, it's tough. It really is. But now when you have a crowd behind you and everybody's cheering and you can hear Lucinio's mom screaming her guts out because her little boy is playing out of his mind, like stuff like that, we could hear it. And it makes it very easy for us to commentate. So there is hand-in-hand factors that go in for not only the commentators but also the crowd. There is a very large role that both play, and it makes a world of difference. It really does. And I can guarantee Johnny and the rest of those guys, when they were casting, could notice that when they see the crowds into it, being able to get that, you know, that very deep, you know, crowd goes wild kind of moment when you're scoring a goal. Mine was the over 0 goal. We can hear you guys cheer, and it makes it so easy for us to just lose our minds when you guys are doing that stuff. It's very genuine, and it makes a better experience not only for you guys but also for us. So people who may not realize how big of a deal that is, hopefully get that understanding now that, you know, we've seen both sides of it. I mean, both from Cole being drunk out of his mind or trying to get drunk out of his mind during the game, or the commentators trying to keep it a little bit more serious.
Intention.
Oh, you're British. It's your intention. Don't lie to us.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
It's the same thing here in Wisconsin, man. It's fine. Like,
now I could see them on we had a camera or a screen that we could look at from the
confidence
casting
monitor
that showed the live feed, and we could see the crowd in the live feed. I was in the perfect seat to look across Greg and Shogun and see that to the side of them. So if you catch me, like, you know, laughing or smirking in the VOD, that's why. See, I'm looking over at the camera and see Doomsy and Cole like fighting in slow motion and stuff like that. It's quality.
By the way, Cole, you need to learn how to take a punch, like a fake punch. Like, you get punched here and then you turn into it. I'm like, that's not how punching works. Like,
yeah, well, I also end up on the floor at one point as well. Ryan,
killing
like, slow motion punches me, and I actually fall over. So
yeah, this is true.
You brought it back, man.
It's very good.
I'll give you that. So,
I'd like to say
really,
that was intentional, but no.
Yeah. Really exciting stuff. But other than that, if there's any other things that you guys want to talk about to wrap up the concept of I58 as a whole or anything like that, now would definitely be the time to do
I've got one story. Then I'll let Cole have the final words on the topic because he is the guest. But my story that I wanted to share was actually something I forgot to say on my stream when I did RLCS story, I58 story time.
That's why we do it.
This is exclusive. First time ever heard. We were just chilling out on the Sunday night. Cole and them were streaming on Team Rocket live from the venue at one of the casting tables, and myself and Jesse were just like looking around at the venue. There was this group forming who were just kind of walking around, and they'd go up to our PC, start cheering, go up to another PC, start cheering, and we were so like enthused. We're like, what is going on here? Let's go find out. So we went and joined them, and we're asking what's going on. They're like, oh, we're just going around to random people's PCs and cheering for pretty much anything. I was like, all right, I'm down. And then like it ended up as a group of about 100 or 150 people who were just going about to a PC. It would be, you know, somebody playing Minecraft. They'd break a block, and everybody would just go, yeah, and like cheer their asses off. So me and Jesse, we thought we can go one step further here. We infiltrated the crowd. We made it to the front, became friends with their leaders, and managed to bring the crowd behind the Team Rocket stream. And I think Cole and Gregan, or Doomsy and Gregan got scored on, and the crowd went, yeah, and then they left. So that was a pretty fun moment.
We got one goal, didn't we?
Bringing 150 odd people over to watch Doomsy and Gregan get scored on. That was an experience. I can't believe I forgot
Team
it.
Rocket RL's monthly views.
Yeah. Well, but that's the kind of thing that happens, just all these impromptu moments happen at the LAN where you can just go and have some fun with people you've never met before, cheering for absolutely no reason.
Great way to make friends.
That's going to last a long way.
LAN's a really, really good time if you've never been, and it's a really cool way to meet the community as well as make some friends that you never thought you would. So anytime you guys have a chance with season 2 coming up, make sure you go to the second LAN. You're missing out if you don't. It's too much fun. Plus I59 should be shortly.
Yeah, I59 will be late November, early December or something.
Yep.
It won't be the same weekend as RLCS, so going to both will be possible as far as I know. I think. Yeah, that's like my last story. I don't know if Cole's got any other final story or thoughts besides to I59. It's going to be incredible.
We definitely mentioned Fat Aerial Girl, didn't we? Just trying to remember. Did we mention Fat Aerials? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't have any other specific stories. I'm really glad that Doomsy had the idea of staying up until 6 a.m. and then leaving on Monday morning instead of just leaving Sunday night. But I just want to say that everyone who we met, literally every single person, was just an absolute pleasure to be around. Every single person. It was just excellent, and this community is pretty bloody fantastic, and long may it rain. Really, it was just sick, really.
Awesome to hear. Good shout out to all of you guys in the chat coming out from CoolCole, saying you guys are all bloody fantastic. Words I would never use, but I'm also
bloody fantastic, governor.
I can't even say it, so that's going to do it with CoolCole for topic number 1, I58. Cole, if you want to shoot out the social medias where people can find you on Twitch, Twitter, all that kind of stuff, and then we are going to go and move into topic number 2.
Okay. I'm on youtube.com/youtube.com/subpub.nhd, twitter.com/teamrocketrl, and twitch.tv/teamrocketrl.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Appreciate it. That is going to do it for CoolCole. Johnny, I'm going to end this call, and then I'm going to have you call me back. Yeah?
Okay.
And then we can do that. Cole, thank you again for joining us, man. It looks like you had a lot of fun. He's waving goodbye. Yeah, he's gonna keep waving until we end the call.
I'm gonna keep waving.
Should we just hold this 24-hour stream? Like
I'm not
for our Cole waving stream.
It'll be almost as good as a spinning ball.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks again, Cole. Appreciate you stopping by.
See ya, guys.
All right, so guys, that was going to do it for CoolCole. Thank you for stopping by on the I58. We're going to bring Johnny Boy back in here. He's got his finger on the trigger, ready to go. And then I got to adjust the camera for Johnny Boy.
There it is. We did it.
Killing it. But big thanks to CoolCole. Next up, we're going to talk about our second topic, which is Rocket League commentary and its uniqueness. This is something that, Johnny Boy, I know you get a lot. Something I've been getting more and more as the weeks progress after RLCS, about people who either A, wanting to get into commentary, or don't understand what commentary really means in the aspect of the difficulty that there is, or like that it's not just a weekend thing. There's a lot of work that goes into it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm ready when you are. But you guys actually, to kind of continue on and segue out of I58, you guys tried something a little bit different for your finals. You guys actually did something with a tri-cast, if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. So this was, I'm going to say, like, straight up, it was my idea, because I had to persuade Greg and Shogun to do it a little bit. I didn't want any of us to be sitting out while 2 other people were casting the finals, because I knew it would be super exciting and a lot of fun to be involved in. So I thought, besides the fact that it includes 3 people as opposed to 2, what can we actually do with this? How can it be helpful? And my idea behind it was have Greg and Shogun like bounce off each other with a dual play-by-play style, and then me just sit back as a color caster and speak up whenever I want to, using hand signals to tell them when I've got something that I want to share really quickly. And the advantages of that is, well, number 1, I don't need to make up stuff on the spot when the play-by-play caster runs out of things to say in Rocket League casting. Sometimes as a color caster, you're kind of hung out to dry. You're like, oh well, I don't actually have anything interesting to say right now, so I just have to wing it and make up something and hope that it sounds legit. I found myself in that position a lot, So that was one of the advantages of having three people, is that never happens. Like as a colorcaster, I literally only spoke when I wanted to. So from my perspective, it was a lot of fun. I was sitting there listening to Shogun and Gregan, building the hype, telling the story. And whenever I noticed something, I'd stick my hand up. They would transition it into me, and I'd send it back to them. And goals and between games, a lot of it was me talking, because that's just what happens in Rocket League color commentary. Only final thing to mention is that the overall energy of the cast was a lot higher. I felt like for me, I didn't need to fake any enthusiasm, because everything that I was saying was things that I wanted to say during the games. Like I've already said, I didn't need to, make up any false analysis just to fill air. Like it was all legit stuff that I really felt had to be said in the moment. So it was very easy to be real and get excited. And that's, those are the main advantages of trycasting for me. There are, it was first try. We'd only done one practice on my phone before that. We tried to watch a Rocket League game on my phone and trycast it, and it started buffering. So, that was our one practice that we got before that. It was pretty much the first try, and I think it went pretty well. It obviously isn't something you want to do too much, and it's not something you want to do online for obvious reasons. Too complicated, and it would take away sort of the niche aspect of it if you do it all the time. But that was the theory behind it. I thought we gave it a good go. It was a lot of fun. Lawler had some interesting things to say about it, though.
Yeah,
So I asked him before explaining all this theory, because I wanted an unbiased opinion on how it went down.
Right. So trycasting is very unique. In a typical sense, there is usually two dedicated roles. There's a play-by-play caster and an analytical caster. Both Johnny and I being analytical guys, I started as a little bit of both and then transitioned into something that naturally came to be due to mentoring and stuff by my boss. So generally with play-by-play's job is to summarize what is happening. Obviously, there is a lot that happens in Rocket League at all times, and that's why it is a very unique game. It's something that we've never had a genre of esport before. So we're all kind of learning it as we go, and trying to make the craft the best that we can as time progresses. So play-by-play there to summarize rather than just saying this happens, this happens, this happens. You guys have eyes. You already know that. You can see it. And that's why radio-style commentary is getting more and more critiqued, because people who are there already watching it, the issue being that there are some people that do only listen to the cast because they're like washing the dishes or, outside doing yard work or something. So it's very hard to appeal to everybody. So play-by-play is literally there to summarize what is happening, okay? Color commentators, or your analytical commentators like me, Johnny, are there to insert tidbits that emphasize either specific plays, why something was incredible or why something was so difficult, or to give you insight of to why something is happening, whether it be a specific rotation or why this player did this or that. Mm-hmm. The issue is even though there's a lot going on in the game, there are times when the things that we are supposed to say are irrelevant. They don't add anything to the conversation. And that's where, as casters, everybody, myself included, all the RLCS guys, need to do a better job of understanding is there is okay to have white noise. When you leave empty space of time to talk, it allows the viewer to take in information. It allows them to grasp what's going on. And there doesn't necessarily need to be an insert. And there will be times when I'm sitting next to one of my co-commentators and they'll stop their play-by-play and they'll look at me and I'll just point back at them and then make a motion like this to keep going. Because there's nothing for me to say. There's no benefit to it. So he'll take a little bit of a pause, and then he'll naturally come back into the play. Because if I was to add in something, it'd be like, yeah, guy hit ball, did thing, cool. Like, there's no point in me saying that. It doesn't add anything to the conversation. So as that stuff progresses, there's going to be times when trycasting is beneficial and unbeneficial. Prime example, Johnny stated, there was never a time that he didn't have something important to say because he could just interject when he wanted to. Because as a color commentator, what I try to generally do is I wait and try to queue up a thought that's relevant every 30 seconds. I'll analyze a game, watch it, and be like, okay, that's an important fact. I can bring that up. And then hopefully the color commentator gets the chance to bring that up. If not, I have to move on to that point and go on to the next one. There's a lot of stomaching going on for color, and I'm sure Johnny agrees to that. There's a lot of times you want to say stuff and you can't because your play-by-play is still going. And that's why that radio-style commentary needs to be cleaned up a little bit. So, as that progresses,
overall, I don't think we did it perfectly. Trycast. I think it can be massively
for the first try.
on.
You guys, it sounded good. It really did.
I think that Shogun and Gregan have both talked to me about what they thought, and for them in particular, Shogun doesn't feel like he, like you said, altered his pitch, his volume, and his pacing enough. He was very steady. He did a great job keeping the hype though. And Gregan, he's trying to work on his caster voice and try and sound more excited in the moment. I know he told me that he was actually really impressed with what I've managed to do with my voice, because online, using this mic, I actually have to hold back a little bit because it pops if I shout too loud. So I was given a bit of freedom with the good mic that we had, and it sounded
Look at
a
this
lot
cool
better.
pop filter, so you can't hear me with the pop.
Yeah, the pop filter. Because if I like shout something, then it'll just sound terrible. So I have to try and tone it down online until tomorrow when I've got my new mic. I haven't plugged it in yet, but I'm going to try that later. So you can actually do a lot with your voice using tone, pitch, volume, timing, and flow, and make things sound a lot more interesting than they actually are. And a lot of the casters, like James Bot is in Findable Carpet, they're really good at that. They vary a lot throughout the cast. It's not so much of a constant thing that kind of bores people and gets tiring almost. So that's one thing that we could have done better. Yeah, I think there's definitely a place for TriCasting. I really want to see the RLCS guys do it, just because that would be pretty cool.
That is not up to us, but we will try our best.
Because like in a final, just trust me, imagine, set the scene, grand finals, Golden Boy maybe is on the stage and he's doing a bit of hosting, introduces the teams, the camera pans over the crowd, they're going crazy, everybody's so excited, the Twitch chat's going nuts, and the teams are just sitting down, they're getting ready to play, they're just doing their quick warm-up, Golden Boy gets ready to throw it over to the casting desk, and then camera pans over to the casting desk and there's 3 casters. People would just go crazy for that. That's like in my head.
We had that same experience, like the first cast of the RLCS, Carpet, and Wavepunk show up, and the crowd just starts cheering. No reason why. They're just like, these are the guys that we know. These are the guys that we've been used to for the past however many months. And the crowd just cheered. They're like, yeah, it's game time. That's what casters mean.
Yeah.
So like, having that, but then you get a surprise. It's like, it's so much more.
Yeah.
So
I
having
saw it in BlizzCon, dude. I remember BlizzCon StarCraft 2 tournament 2015, I think it was. They panned over to the casting desk, and there was the Tastosis casting Archon, that's Tasteless and Artosis, and Day 9. And the crowd just lost it. They were on their feet, standing ovation before the casters have even said anything, because they're just like, oh man, we're going to see 3 casters. This is going to be so good. And if you can get it working smoothly, and like you say, leave a bit of time for silence, because that's where Rocket League casting's evolving into. Thank goodness, because it's pretty tiring to just listen to some rambling guy who's like trying to be a rap god. So I'm pretty excited with where it's going, and we're going to get to see some very interesting developments, I'm sure.
Yeah, for those that aren't sure about that stuff, I mean, if you look at the difference between like the first week of RLCS and now, 9-day difference. You watch the LAN and you watch the first week, it is a 9-day difference. Obviously, the LAN that audience that we're talking about is definitely different, and it gives a different atmosphere. But I mean, TriCasting definitely has its theories. It's back and forth. I feel, and the biggest issue that I brought up with Johnny about it was that it splits the focus a little too much. When you have 2 play-by-play guys going, you get the hype from this guy, and then the other guy either needs to match that or find a way so it sounds consistent. And I just didn't get that. So obviously there's room for improvement. I think it needs to be broken out only in special circumstances, like Johnny Boy's talking. Like if it's the finals and it's something special, if you do it too much, it's going to get oversaturated and it's going to become an issue. So there is advantages and disadvantages to it. I do like the fact that as a play-by-play guy versus an analytical guy, the analytical guy can literally interject only when he has something important to say. So there is pros and cons to that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I felt like what you're saying is as a result of the poor execution rather than the TriCast itself. I think that we just weren't practiced enough in our roles. So, like, I had the easiest job. I want to say right now, my job was freaking easy. I just sat there and spoke whenever I wanted to. So everything that I said was stuff that I wanted to say. Greg and his Shogun had to be on their toes, ready for anything to happen, so that they would, instantly try and keep the flow going. And that's why my job was super easy, and I feel like that's why I sounded like I knew what I was talking about, when I knew what I was doing, because I had the easy job. Greg and his Shogun had the hard job. They were like bouncing it off each other. And I think if they practiced that, would get really, really, really good at it, and they'd figure out their role and how to keep it flowing really smoothly, and like avoid what Lawler said, where people are just getting a bit confused, like, wait, what just happened to this hype that got built up by Shogun? Where did it all go? Right. I think that would be just a thing that would come with time. But
right. For those that are unaware,
colorcaster, it's super fun. Like if you're ever color casting in a TriCast with 2 play-by-play guys bouncing the play-by-play off each other, time of your life, man. Just chill and say whatever you want to say. Which is,
for those that are unaware, I mean, casting is not just a weekend thing. It is a lot of time, effort, and being ambitious goes into it. I know that's something that Cloud Fuel really, really strives, and that's actually something that's really cool to segue into the next moment. Is before Rocket League really got even kind of put into stuff. Literally 11 months ago, Rocket League on the subreddit posted a casting competition. It was done by Cloud Fuel that basically was looking for people in the community to try their chance at casting, see what it was like, give themselves an opportunity. And they were going to have a list of series of things that they wanted to do. Like, okay, you try out, you send in a copy. We basically have a group of 5-6 people, like Gibbs, Cloud Fuel, a couple others, that chose from this group of people. And then they kept having competitions until they were able to find out who the best was. And that person then got a chance to basically commentate for the RLC. The issue is that never happened. Okay. The coolest thing about it is you look at some of those names on that Reddit post and where they are now. Johnny, I don't know if you remember like the major 5 or 6 of them, but I know a couple of them.
James Bot, Shogun were on there, Gregan was on there, I think Wavepunk and Leaf, maybe even you commented on the thread. I don't think, I wasn't even playing Rocket League at that point, so I didn't. I don't think Findable Carpet was around. But a ton of the guys who were in that list of names, I mean, look where they are now. People who wanted to do this from the beginning.
4 of the 6 RLCS casters are now where they are, and they all commented on that. That was 11 months ago. This was before the competitive scene even completed started. So it was like 3 of us confirmed by Cloud. So it was myself. I commented on that. Leaf commented on that. Me and Leaf didn't know each other at the time. James Bot, who had Evolve background and it still is one of the best commentators in my opinion. He has put in his role on the desk for a reason because of the rapport he has with Gibbs, and it's phenomenal. But you get to watch him commentate Gamer Saloon all the time, and he's a dang good commentator. He's got a lot of experience in it. You see people like Gregan and Shogun, who are both the faces of pretty much EU now because there's other people that have fallen out of the position. So you see why it's so important. Yeah, DM Rawlings was on there too. I forgot about that. Thank you, Cloud. But like you look at that and you understand what that really means, other than just okay, what happened? Hey Gibbs. As a new caster in this scene, there are certain things that you can and cannot do in order to get yourself out there. Things to how you improve, where to get involved. What me and Johnny Boy are doing, even though we are like Johnny Boy is basically, and I'm speaking on his behalf, he is trying to become an RLCS caster. That's the pinnacle right now. It is ideally where you want to be because it is the highest form of Rocket League in the competitive aspect. That's where commentary belongs. Mm-hmm. So Johnny basically has certain things that he wants to do to hit that position. He's staying ambitious and motivated to keep himself relevant in the scene. If you kind of want to elaborate on that, Johnny.
Yeah, so for me, it's all about having clear goals. And from the beginning, the first time I did a cast, I didn't really have that goal in mind. I just wanted to see what people thought of my casting. So I hopped in a private game of Scrubkiller and Marky Duda playing ones, and people really liked it. So then I hopped in another private lobby of Scrubkiller versus Kronovi playing ones, and people really liked it. So I was like, okay, maybe this could go somewhere. And I started, actually try-harding to get good. And we'll talk about, stuff that we've done to try and improve ourselves, what we're still doing to try and improve behind the scenes, because there's a lot more to it than just, cast on Rocket Rail on Sunday, then next Friday cast Gfinity. That's not the only, things that go into it. There's stuff in between as well, and like going back and watching VODs. But for me, the main thing is to have very clear goals in mind, not just with casting, but with everything you do. And for me, I've got 3, and you can use them if you want, because they're not like copyright or anything. But number 1, try and be the best color commentator I can be. Number 2, try and build my brand as well as I can. Number 3, just try and help out the Rocket League community as best I can. And if something that I'm doing isn't helping me get towards those 3 goals, or if it's not doing it the best way possible, then I look to improve that, which is actually why I'm trying to move away from 1v1-to-1 coaching and trying to transition that into a different medium, which will hopefully be available soon. Because if it's not, going towards those 3 goals that I just mentioned, then not really the most efficient thing to be putting time into, right?
Right. So for me, it is a little bit different because I have finally, I got the chance to be at that next level. So there's things that I need to do personally that allow me to stay in that position. First and foremost, and the thing that I will say until the day I die, I'm not in this for the publicity or I'm not in it for it. I do it because I love it. Number one and always number one would be I cast because it is a blast. You can ask any caster that's ever done it. It is a ton of fun, especially the ones that stick with it. For the ones that stick with it, they will say that it is especially fun. They love doing it all the time. Okay? So if I don't enjoy what I'm doing anymore, there's no point in me doing it. That is not the reason why I got into it, was publicity and being in the spot. Like, forget that. It's because it is fun. That is always going to be number one. Number two is because I have a passion for the game. I love this game. I have never had a game that has taken me away from another game that I've been playing for 6 or 7 years and had no remorse of going back. I've always loved this game in the facets. I've always liked the concept of it at a higher level. And being able to do that as part of a, I guess, job now is unbelievable. So having a passion for the game and loving it is, they kind of tie hand in hand. Something that you need as a newer caster is coachability. If you have an ego, you do not belong in this scene. Egos are not going to fly by any means. You need to understand that you're not the best. I'm still not the best. I still have tons to learn. But being able to understand, yeah, we know that. Get out of here. But you need to understand that there's things that you can improve on, and taking that coachability is huge, because not only does it allow you to improve at a faster pace, but it's going to make you easier to work with. And finding someone that's easier to work with is very difficult. That's why the RLCS crew that we have currently is difficult, because we have 6 guys that are all willing to learn and get along with each other and work as a group. We're all looking out for the betterment of the community rather than each other and ourselves. We just want the Rocket League scene to grow. We want it to be the best esport there is. So when you have people that are willing to take notes and put forth the effort and all that other kind of say, it is unbelievable. It is absolutely unbelievable. So having that kind of concept is crazy. But then you still have to be ambitious with it too. Nothing is going to be given to you. And I know Johnny Boy and I both agree with this. We started with nothing. We went out. Like, I was casting VVV. I made sure to do as many tournaments as I possibly could when I needed to fill in, because I knew it was the only way I was going to get better was practice. I then also made sure to go out, and when VVV had their off season, I literally asked any team that was willing to do so. ECN Royalty back in the day, Poria, like all those teams, like, can I just commentate you guys solo through ESL? I just need practice, because it was the only way that I was going to get it. And those things were nothing told me to do that. Nobody told me. It was because I just simply wanted to get better. Watching video reviews, and that's the hardest thing. I know Johnny and I will both agree with it. Getting over hearing the sound of your own voice is weird. It's very awkward, but watching your old VODs is the best way to critique yourself.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. That's something you need to get over quickly, is if you hate your own voice, get over it, because everybody else hears it all the time, and they don't mind it. So if they don't mind it, then what right do you have to complain? Because everybody else has to put up with it 24/7, so you better damn well put up with it, or else you're gonna stunt your own learning. But yeah, notice everything that Lawler's bringing up here is stuff that we have control over ourselves, and that's a key aspect of it, is you want to focus on things that are within your control. So I don't want to get hung up on other people's decisions and think, oh, this person's holding me back from my casting career, or such and such is really, limiting what I can do in this facet of the Rocket League community. Just focus on what you can do. Try and be a positive influence in the community. Try and better yourself, and try to, take opportunities as they come. Take the right opportunities when they come, and then you can't go far wrong as long as you keep working hard at it. Because, like we keep saying, there's a ton of work goes into it. And you got to look in the right places. I know that there's a couple of groups going around right now, it's encouraging to see this type of thing happening, where people are getting together. They're talking about casting. They're talking about how to improve each other, how to improve themselves at casting. But you've got to remember that really the number one person is you, and you've got to think, like Lawler said, watch your own VOD, see where you're going wrong. If somebody tells you, hey, I don't think you're going to be a good play-by-play caster, or I don't think you've got what it takes to be a color caster, then remove them very, very swiftly from your life. Just put them in a place where you're not going to interact with them anymore, and do what you want to do. Because if it's fun and you enjoy it, that's all that matters. And if you just keep improving yourself, then eventually you're going to get there. But yeah, advice is there from the right people if you're going to look for it. I would definitely stray away from people who are spending more time talking casting theory rather than actually practicing casting while a game's going on, without naming any names, because I don't even know their names. So easy.
Right.
easy
I mean,
dodge on
and you
that.
talk about like
Which
people that are in a position to critique and stuff. Like, I mean, Carpet said it at best in chat. I mean, Cloudfuel has basically been, and we talked about this 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago with Cloudfuel, kind of the history of Rocket League. We talked about with how he kind of put in place that the community is number one. There's no egos involved, like all that kind of stuff, and that's awesome. I mean, Cloudfield basically put in the mindset that this community was going to have, and you can see
Yeah.
that in how everybody else is trying to give help and offer, suggestions and all that kind of stuff. The issue is when you have someone who's not willing to take that critique, it's very difficult. So,
Yeah.
um,
And look beyond Rocket League casting as well. Like
right,
it doesn't the bar doesn't stop at Rocket League casting. Who are
no,
the best Rocket League casters? Right, they're my idols. No way. Like you've got to look much further because everybody's pretty new to this, and even the best Rocket League casters are very inexperienced in what they do. Like myself included, and myself the most out of anybody. Like I'm looking at people who are casting UFC, hyping that event.
yep.
People are casting hockey. People are commentating
Two most you should
soccer.
watch: hockey and
Yeah.
wrestling.
Yeah, hockey's super like Rocket League for a lot of
Hockey is
reasons.
like casting reason. Hockey is very fast paced. The team mechanics,
Yeah.
the way the passing works, and then wrestling for story building. Wrestling,
Yeah.
I cannot stand. I hate it. I'd rather watch UFC or MMA. But they have the best storytellers ever. They're phenomenal at telling a story. The way that they get you involved and excited. Wrestling is really good, and that's something that was taught to us by Golden
Yeah.
Boy. So,
Yeah, talk
wrestling
about
and hockey.
other esports too. Like
Yep.
I've been watching esports for a long time, so I kind of have
You and I
a
both have a League of Legends
advantage in
background.
this regard. Like League of Legends guys, I look up to a lot of their casters who are able to tell a story, who are able to like drop knowledge bombs in the middle of a cast, to really take everybody by surprise. You're like, wow, I didn't think of that. And guys who are able to, have the perfect breath control for a whole League of Legends team fight, which is happening so quickly, and then this guy's just able to rattle off every single ability name, all of the player names, and everything is happening. That really is a talent right there. And other esports you want to look at, there's fighting games, really hype to watch people cast in those games. And again, knowledge is a big aspect of esports casting, so educate yourself, try to become smarter. Every cast you do, try and learn something. And if you just look to all of the best commentators from different esports and all the sports that we mentioned, you can't go far wrong as far as inspiration goes. The bar does not stop at Rocket League casters. You've got to look outside at other esports and sports, and if you want to be the best that you can be.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Very well stated. So, biggest thing in the things that we talk about, kind of some key points. What do you want from casting? Be ambitious, confident too. I mean, you gotta believe in yourself and able to do it, and learn that it's going to take time. Have a very good work ethic, be coachable, have a passion for the game, and love it. Enjoy what you do. If you're not having fun, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah, enjoy it. It's got to be fun. It's got to be fun. Like that was the main thing that myself, Greg, and Shogun were saying to each other before we did the grand finals cast. We were like, let's just have fun with it, guys. Like that's the main thing. If we're having fun, then the crowd's having fun, the players are having fun, the stream's having fun. That's the main thing. Just like enjoy it, because it isn't like a normal job as such. You are being critiqued for your performance, but it's more of a talent than an employment, if you want to think of it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, very difficult, obviously, and we're pretty lucky the community is who they are, because I've seen other esports communities be pretty rough, and everybody's usually pretty supportive. They understand that this is new. We're learning it just as much as you guys are, so we're trying to do the best of our abilities and trying to improve as time progresses. So the fact that we are getting the support between everybody behind you is pretty awesome. So anybody who is willing to get interested in stuff, obviously you guys know how to get a hold of us. Don't be afraid to reach out. Try to expect a response within reason, because Johnny Boy and I both try to stay as busy as possible, whether it be improving or trying to grow the community or whatever.
Don't whisper me or message me on Twitch, because the interface is terrible. Anywhere
Right.
else, I'll probably see it.
Twitter is the best bet. So
Yeah,
that kind of
Twitter's good.
information is always helpful.
Good interface.
So, but we're gonna
Too many YouTube comments now, so don't message me there either.
such a big deal, dude.
'Cause I have to it's because I have to sift through all of these awful comments to find something that actually makes sense in English. Never mind, is interesting and helpful. So I'm moving away from that as a way to interact with my fans as well. I apologize. I still find I see a gem in there occasionally. There are some good YouTube comments, no doubt.
Yep. But that's enough with that topic. We're gonna go on to what I know most of you are here for, and I'm glad we put this in. is topic number 3. There has been some issues going on with Channel of the Month. So for those that are unaware, we are going to bring in a guest for that one. But Johnny, if you want to give some preface to what is going on with the Channel of the Month drama while I message said person.
Oh, I just got it. Yeah, he's ready. He said he's available.
Oh, I know. He's been sitting watching, like, ready to click the button.
Yeah, he says he's available. So we're going to get Chaupt72 on here. Hopefully, as his big face camera or his full face. There he is.
Guys.
Hey,
Hello,
hey buddy.
Sports fans.
How you guys doing?
Doing great, dude. Doing great. So, quick intro to this topic. Last minute addition to the show because we could not talk about this.
Right. That's what we're about, man. That's what we're about.
It was. So, Channel of the Month is every month it happens. Well, what a surprise! On Reddit, and the way that it works, or the way that it has worked up till now, is anyone who's a YouTube person or a Twitch streamer can put their name in there, or you can nominate somebody else. Like I could nominate Lawler or Chaupt here, and that puts their name in the big pot of names who have been nominated for Channel of the Month on the subreddit, which is a pretty big deal. And I can go into a bit of a detail as to what you get from that because I did win it in May. But you get to go into the first stage, which is nominations, and based on the people who get the most upvotes in the nomination stage, I think 2 or 3 people are chosen to go into the next stage, which is just voting for the Channel of the Month, and that's where you get the one winner. And there's been a bit of drama this month regarding vote brigading and who. Apparently my mic's cutting out. Apologies for that. But if I didn't,
it's good now.
Not my end.
If I didn't miss anything too important. So long story short, Channel of the Month is happening every month, and this month we ran into a little bit of problems because it's been a long time coming. Like the system needs to be revamped a little bit, but we'll talk about the current system, what's wrong with it, Chaupt's experience with it because he ran into some trouble this month, and my experience in the past because obviously I won it in May, and if I did what I did in May, apparently I would have been disqualified this month. So I'm just gonna have to go and redact my May Channel of the Month because I broke the rules apparently. But yeah,
yeah, you should be DQ'd at this point, Johnny. You should be retroactively DQ'd, and you should be permabanned on Reddit.
Yeah, that's the only fair way to do this is just to delete my Twitch account because I incorrectly won Channel of the Month because I told people. But yeah, that's a quick summary. We'll go into a bit more detail and talk about some people who are affected by it. There is actually a thread for you all to check out. Lawler, have you got the link to that?
It is in chat a lot.
There, so check that. We're not going to talk too much about that because the comments are massive. But look at it for yourself.
There's a lot.
Yep.
There's
so if you guys want
big topics,
but they're all huge, so we won't go into detail.
If you guys want more detail on it, the link is in chat. Feel free to go check it out on your own time or whatever you're doing. It's basically people expressing interest or concern with the situation of what has happened. It's basically to kind of summarize, like Johnny said, is there's some issues going on. Basically, people are getting discredited because they are self-promoting, and one of the rules is stating on the subreddit that you can't self-promote. You're vote brigading and all this other kind of stuff. And the issue with that is the problem with Channel of the Month, in my opinion, is that it is definitely it's a popularity contest. The people who have not been voted for yet, who may have thousands of subs, are going to get easier votes because if they see it, then that viewer base is just going to go and vote for them. But the issue is
squad, right? Because the people who need it are the people who can't win it because they don't have enough of a backing. And the people who don't need it are the people who are probably going to win it because they've got a lot of people supporting them. So
basically, it snowballs people who are already at the top. Yeah. And it's counterintuitive because Channel of the Month to me should be something, and this is just my theory on it. Channel of the Month should be something that it may not just be for that month, but it needs to be somebody in the community who has put out content to grow the community, someone who is a good advocate for the community, somebody who has basically had their fingers in or been involved in something with Rocket League to basically do something that's going to help, whether it be streaming, doing YouTube videos, creating content, or just being a good advocate. Like, for example, Hanzo. Hanzo's a prime example. Hanzo doesn't do any like physical content other than like his TLDR thing, which is phenomenal, which is a summary
That's
of
great,
literally,
yeah.
which is literally a summary of everything Rocket League, whether it be our podcast or montages or team roster changes. Like, even though he's not someone who is a face of Rocket League because he doesn't go on Twitch or he doesn't make YouTube content, people still know who he is. He is something that I would personally notify and be like, you know what? Hanzo deserves all the notoriety that comes from this because of what he does. And he does it without anybody asking for anything in return. So people like that, I feel, are the ones that should be channel of the month. People that I think the community should nominate. Okay. The other half, I feel, is there should be for people that are below a certain threshold. And I know someone on one of the comments brought this up about how there should be a certain point past where you can't win something in the community where you basically nominate yourself and then people vote on that, where you have to be below so many followers or so many subscribers or etc. So Christian, if you want to kind of give your thoughts on what basically happened, ways that you'd recommend fixing the solution, because obviously we don't want to turn this into a witch hunt. We don't want to go after people and be like, this guy sucks, blah, 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 this girl sucks, or whatever's going on.
I think it comes down to a lot is basically your philosophy about who deserves it, right? And a lot of people have different opinions on that. And then there's been, you know, to preface this with positivity, there has been like a lot of solutions after the fact about where the direction of the channel of the month should go that have all been really good in my opinion and have been like a great discussion, which I think we'll probably get to probably at the end about the situation and everything. But basically, it was basically unfathomable about how this month went down. And I want to preface this by saying I think every single person that won every channel of the month in the past, all the past monthly winners, everybody really deserves it.
Nah. You're just saying that because I'm here. Like, I
already know you should be banned.
I fluked it. I cheated.
Yeah.
No preface needed. That's just a lie. Yeah, nobody deserves it. All channel of the months redacted. Subtract all of the followers that were gained. That's the only fair way to deal with this, right? But sorry to interrupt.
We should just make a Rocket League, a new subreddit, just start over fresh from the beginning.
Yes.
But
I
think
this.
It's definitely like a really multifaceted issue, and there's a lot really going on with it. But this month, it was a very fun month in which it went normal. A lot of people, I think like 160 or something, were nominated for the channel of the month, or nominated themselves, or were nominated for the channel of the month. And then after that, typically every other month, everybody's, you know, self-promoted, as you guys were talking about before, and gotten their viewers to vote for them. And I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. And I think that's why everybody does it too. And this rule that they then enacted after the initial voting stage it's like say you're gonna ban everybody from using or make alcohol illegal again, and then you go back to someone that drank alcohol like 5 months ago, and then you arrest them.
And now that we've changed the drinking age, you're going to jail because you drank when it was technically legal, but now it's illegal. And you should have known that because you should have been able to see the future. But no, it's ridiculous. How can you even control that anyway? Like, how are you ever going to know that somebody didn't vote brigade in a Skype chat with their friends or tell their friend? What if, like, then they're like, oh yeah, if anybody tells, like, their fan base to vote, then that person's excluded. Then you could just, like, set somebody up, and you know, it's like me against Chaupt in the final, and I go tell Kronovi, can you tell your fans to vote for Chaupt so he gets banned and then I win? Easy peasy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really enforce that rule. It's ridiculous. Of course people are gonna ask people to vote for them. That's what I did when I realized I was in the May final too. I threw my stream on and got 300 views or so and told them all to go vote for me, and I won. Like, of course that's how it works. That's how it's always gone like that, right?
Now the question that I have too is, both yourself, Christian, and Goodies, or not Goodies, Squishy Muffins, you just play with Goodies all the time, my bad, have basically been, to my knowledge, kicked out because of vote brigading, as they refer to it as. Yeah, and I literally have screenshots here of the other two people
Yes.
that are up for the nominee doing the exact same thing.
Do not witch hunt these people. I fully support what they're doing. I think they're smart people
Yeah.
for doing this. They're going
Now, I
against
don't-
the rules, but they're
And
smart
that's
for
something
doing it
that
because it's
that's something I don't
stupid.
disagree. Literally and this is the issue with the vote issue. I don't think it's anything wrong, and I'm going to post this. If you guys witch hunt these people, I am legitimately mad at every single one of you for doing it.
Yeah,
It is not something to do. So this is posted just to give credit to what we're saying. I'm not just making this up. Okay. So there's a link in chat.
People who made the final made it because like Squishy Muffins was probably winning. I saw a ton of votes in the thread for Squishy Muffins,
Right.
and then he got banned from, or he got removed from the running because he told his fans to vote for him. But the two people who made the final two are also telling their fans to vote for them, and rightfully so, because come on, this is the real world. Stop
Yeah.
enforcing stupid rules. So I think everybody's asking somebody to vote for them. Come on,
It's
be
just
real.
like
No
I
one's
re-
being honorable here, if it's even honorable, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Right.
I just
There's no dishonor in, networking well. It's just good networking,
yeah.
good
It's
business.
just it's crazy to me. Like I wonder how the decision went down to make this rule, then retroactively reinforce it, and then we're not gonna witch hunt whatsoever. Like how this decision was made, and then how they chose who they banned for it. Because like you showed in chat, those screenshots, like it's showing. Literally, I'm sure everybody in this thread told their friends to go vote for them, or told people they knew in the community to go vote for them, because that makes sense. And like, how are you gonna, if you're a moderator and you think this rule is just and fair, how are you gonna monitor everybody, and where do you draw the line about who's vote brigading and telling other people? Like, is telling my friends like, oh hey, I'm up for the channel of the month,
Yeah.
and I don't say anything else, is that vote brigading? Like, where do you draw
Exactly.
the line?
Right.
It's like, oh
Like,
no,
how do you
somebody
enforce that?
looked over my shoulder. They saw that I'm in channel of the month. I should have stopped them from seeing that, because now they've been influenced and they might vote for me. Like, oh no,
Right.
what is
Right.
that?
And I feel
This is awful.
that's an issue with this situation.
Wait.
Definitely, channel of the month is Rocket League as a whole has changed a lot in the last 10, 11 months, or however long it's been. I think it's been since like August or September of 2015 that channel of the month has been going. So,
Yeah.
so in that situation, I mean, obviously there needs to be an update to it. I think we all agree on that. I think everybody in the chat also agrees with that. So
Yeah.
when I am, like, personally, if I was nominated, I'm going to basically tell, hey, like, awesome, I appreciate you nominating. And then I want to tell the people that may not know, because there's a lot of people that don't visit the subreddit on a regular basis. Even though there is 208,000 people that are subscribed to it, there's a lot of people that don't go to it. So
Yeah, it's because
when
nobody used to be entering who had enough of a pool to
Right.
make it like it has been this month, right?
Right.
So it didn't used to be a problem, but times have changed. Updates need to be made. I'm sure they're going to make those updates, but until then, we're going to call out stupid decisions because they're stupid. And banning my
it's
boy
just
Chaupt here was a
yeah, things
dick
happen after
move.
the fact, and that's probably the reason why most people are upset about
Yeah.
it, because obviously people in chat also brought up the fact that no, they didn't see those screenshots that I pasted until after it happened. And it's like, well, yeah, obviously, why should I have to go out and look to see if it even happened or not? And that's not the point we're trying to make. I shouldn't have to go out and ask for somebody to not do that, or I shouldn't have to double check whoever's going to be in the final.
Realistic rules, right?
Yeah. If someone votes for me, I'm going to use my outlet and be like, hey, guys, I would really appreciate it if you went and voted for me. It would mean a lot. I mean, that makes sense. If someone nominates me for something, then I would also like that. But to do it just purely and sit back and just let Rocket Jesus take the wheel and hopefully something happens and comes out of it, I just don't think is going to happen. So
And, like, another thing is, like, the biggest thing that was crazy to me is literally every single channel, like Johnny, that won this channel of the month has broken this rule. Every single one.
Yeah.
So that
Literally.
like, if sure, like, regardless if you think the rule is smart or not, which I don't, and a lot of people don't, and there's a lot of discussion going on, regardless if you think that rule is smart or not, like, you can't enact that rule then retroactive. Like, if you want to set that up for the beginning of the next channel of the month voting before, and like put it bold at the top for everybody that's like gonna post in it, then go ahead and do that if you want to change the rules, but let them know beforehand. Don't DQ after. That's what was just the most like discouraging thing.
Yeah, it was
about
clear rules were needed, realistic rules were needed, mistakes were made, and I'm sure that they're going to come back strong from this because this community is awesome, and the subreddit is awesome, and the mods are doing a fantastic job of keeping that community going and making Channel of the Month as good of a thing as it has been. Because I know for me, my channel grew a lot. I got like 1,000 followers on Twitch, 1,000 subs on YouTube in the month that I was COTM. I'm sure other people got even more than that. Because I didn't actually stream or make that many videos that month. But it's a really good thing, and I'm sure it will continue to be a good thing. But we're bringing up this conversation because we don't want the same mistakes to happen again, and there would be a chance to have different people make these mistakes again if we're not vocalizing why the mistakes happened.
No, it's
And just to preface, sorry, someone I saw in chat was asking about what does it matter who becomes the channel of the month. The reason everybody kind of goes for it is because you're at the top of the subreddit in front of 200,000 plus people that go on the subreddit, and it just brings a lot of exposure. Seeing that button at the top with their graphic and the name, so it brings a lot of exposure to yourself as if you're a content creator.
Yeah, it's a lot because I said I got 1,000 followers on Twitch, 1,000 subs on YouTube. It's not a massive number compared to some of the bigger channels in Rocket League, but at the time that was almost, I think it was a 70% increase of Twitch followers and a 100% increase of YouTube subs, so, or maybe even more, maybe 150%. It was like a big percentage increase, like a huge jump for me as I was trying to grow my channel, and I was very, very thankful for that opportunity. But now things definitely need to change. The mods, I know some of them are in the chat, and they'll almost certainly hear from this. They'll probably be hearing from lots of community figures who are going to speak out about this topic, and I'm sure they'll come to a good decision. But until then, I think that Channel of the Month this month has been cancelled for now. Okay, so cancelled.
To kind of summarize why we do this.
Striker pulling out, right?
I have no idea.
Pulling out of the running. I think it's been cancelled.
It's been cancelled completely, and there's a big subreddit Channel of the Month transparency feedback thread, so where people are discussing about where the Channel of the Month should be going in the future and how it can be improved.
Yeah,
so
I have a few ideas I'll mention later, but Lawler, to close off this topic, I think you've got some.
So for those to kind of the reason why we bring this stuff up is not because we want to make more drama out of it. It is literally to bring light to the situation. I mean, obviously, it's a good topic to talk about because obviously people have feedback. Chat's going absolutely crazy about it. The reason is to bring light to it, show transparency, and offer solutions. So we're not there to point anybody to something right or wrong. It's just we want more. Yeah, Christian's freaking out. He's got a stress ball. He's squeezing that thing like crazy. He's tossing it around.
I was very stressed in this situation, okay?
So yeah, we'll move on. We're going to move on to that in a bit.
Yeah, so we're here to bring that up to basically offer solutions on going forward. Obviously, we can't change things that have already happened, but I think something that definitely needs to happen that we mentioned is we need to have a channel that is voted by the community where only the community can vote, and then you also need to have something that's nominated through like a panel of people. And that's kind of the way that we're getting into it. There's obviously needs to be changes, and that's where that first link we originally posted, and I'm going to post it again, is meant for comments. So if you guys do have feedback you want to get, I'm also trying to get a couple of the moderators to actually message me here because one of them is not able to make it due to poor timing. He is trying to give some feedback and some insight about that on their side as well. So it's basically us trying to give people a platform to discuss the situation openly without the concept of, okay, well, emotions,
no witch
etc.
hunts, basically. No witch hunts at all. And if I know Scheist is a good guy. I've talked to him before, met him in person, awesome guy. And if he was able to come on here in the show and brings more information to the table, I would have been delighted to hear that, but he can't, which is unfortunate. But that's really what we want to do with this show, is raise contentious topics, and if people want to come on here and defend their side of the story, then they're more than welcome to. That's nothing, we're not gonna be afraid of that at all. Right. That's great. And do look out for the mods responding to this, because I want more transparency. Transparency is a good
these
thing.
guys aren't afraid to talk about the situation. I mean, Cloudfuel, another one of the mods in chat, bring up the whole reason why they try to stop vote brigadiing is to give some of the smaller channels a chance, and that makes sense. But it's very difficult when there's really no way to cross-examine it. There's no way that is really enforced other than people just, I guess, having to comment and being like, this guy cheated, which just it makes you look like a snitch, and that's not what people want, I guess. I mean, if I have to be like, oh, this guy promoted his channel, meh, like it just makes me look salty. Like I don't want to be PJ Salt. Like
I do.
no,
I am PJ Salt incarnate, so that's really what I'm trying to be.
So I
let me
mean, for
just finish
situations
that
like
up.
that, there's ways that we can do this, and that's why that Reddit thread is now existing, so we can come to a conclusion of people together trying to figure out a solution to make this better going forward. So
Yes,
that is the whole reason.
it
Don't
is.
want. Obviously, there's notable issues. People have expressed concerns, Christian being one of them, and rightfully so. So there's certain things out there that we need to make sure do not happen, and the biggest one being witch hunting. There's no need to go and start
no witch hunts.
causing there's no point in that.
I think we brought up the fact that Neat Mike and Striker, who were in the final two, they did tell their followers to, or their fans to vote for them because they're smart. Like we're not trying to say,
everybody
well,
did.
look at
I
these
did,
guys, how
Squishy
dare
did.
they?
Yeah,
Everybody
everyone
did because they have brains and they know how to win.
Yeah.
Like we need more other rules. I think that I want to hear what your guys' suggestions are to change up the format. I think it would be interesting to have like a lottery channel of the month. Imagine that, just like literally
Wow.
anybody could win. That'd be quite funny. But then you could
Raffle
also have like a committee voting channel of the month. Like people just put up their channels, and then a chosen committee, like they can be the ones to choose. So obviously there will be some people complaining that, oh yeah, that's not fair because I'll never have a chance to win because my channel's too small. Like that's where I feel like a combination of like having two channels of the month, like one lottery and one that's chosen by committee. Anybody could win, but the people who are like doing a good job branding themselves, which is something that should be rewarded, by the way. That's that's a good job to people who are getting their names out there and building their channels without any help or by good networking or being sluts like Gregan.
Want to go first on your response?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it, and I like someone in chat kind of summarized it. Exposure for everyone by showing there's a contest, but a loss of interest in the contest due to no publicity due to fear of DQ. So it kind of summarized it. It's kind of counterintuitive. But yeah, I said it kind of right at the beginning. I think there should be two versions, one nominated by committee, and that would be a good way for people to stand out, to kind of have the smaller channels.
Right?
Yeah, something to work towards. You have smaller communities that have to be under a certain point, like 10,000 subs on YouTube or 10,000 followers on Twitch or whatever it is. The committee will determine that, so it's fair. And have those people nominated appropriately, and then do it that way. Have someone with a community, a group of 5-10 people. Have some smaller guys, some bigger guys, some very unbiased people, and basically say, okay, we determine this way. This is who's going to win, and these are the reasons why. And give us legitimate reasons, not just this is who we feel. Because there is going to be some close picks in the future. That's stuff that you have to try to prepare for. And that stuff is eventually going to also get updated as they get better and better at it. That's just how it works. And then have another one that is like anybody can go in there, nominate themselves, tell their fans and stuff about it, and blow it out of proportion. Do what we all think is the smart thing. Why would I not nominate try to promote myself and be like, hey guys, I was nominated. And I think initially you can't be nominated by yourself. I think that'd be a good way to do it. Is your fans have to be the one pulling for you. You can't say
it's pretty
squat.
easy to get somebody to nominate you, right? Like, come on.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like it's not that big of a deal. But there's no point in me going in and saying
isn't that bad.
No, there's no point in me going in and being like, hey, vote for me. This is what I do. But if you had someone, and it's always cool to see like what your fans really have to say, like when they come in and say, this is the reason why, all this kind of stuff, etc. So I think there should be definitely two splits to it. How that's going to work would be awesome.
Yeah. And my suggestion, very similar to that. I think I disagree with the lottery, but I really think Neat Mike.
Get the worst channel ever as channel of the month. Imagine just like the utter garbage of Twitch wins.
Someone that's just like throwing hate at Psionics and Twitch in every video.
Mostly within real, like if they break like the terms of service, which is a massive thing that they're never going to read the scroll down, except then they're banned. So you can pretty much put anything in there that could ban any channel that is stepping over the line. And I want a combination. I want two: lottery, the worst channel ever, and then the one that is committee voted with very clear points as to what they're looking for in the channel, so people can be deliberate with how they build their channel, try to make it as good as possible. So said committee will look at it and think, yep, this is fantastic. This is exactly what we need. Sorry, you were going to explain an alternative.
So basically, I just want to urge everybody to look at that thread about the transparency thing and voice your opinion. I think that's really important. Everybody in the community to go voice their opinion. But basically, my suggestion would be, and I'm sure there's people smarter in the thread, is to have the two, like Neat Mike said and I said earlier, combining kind of Soft Goat's idea in the subreddit and combining Cloud Fuel's idea. And I do like this committee idea. I didn't think about this until after, but basically have one top channel of the month, basically exactly how it's run now, pre-vote brigading rule. Like everybody should be allowed to like, hey, I'm nominated for the subreddit channel of the month. You should come vote for me. You don't, maybe not directly link to the subreddit because it's going to automatically downvote or whatever, but just say like, hey, I'm trying to go for the subreddit channel of the month. Go check me out on that and check out any other contestant and see who you want to vote for. Then have an up and coming channel of the month, which you have like a set requirement. Maybe, you know, someone can figure out the numbers, but basically maybe less than 1,500 subscribers on YouTube or less than 10,000 followers on Twitch, something like that. So it shows like someone that's lower in the community and someone that's like the top representative of the month, kind of like it is now. So two things, and basically this helps like promote, you know, the way it's been going, which I think it's been pretty good up until this month, and then have an up and coming one to give someone that doesn't have as much exposure, you know, a chance basically against the big dogs. And you can feature both at the top of the subreddit, and it's kind of, you know, I don't know anything about coding or anything, but I bet it's relatively easy to just put another one beside it that's just another subreddit channel a month. It might be a little bit more work.
I heard that's impossible. Like, they can't do that. It's just, it's out of the question. You can't have two, like, things coded in there back to back. It's just, no, it can't be done. I'm kidding. Of course. It's easy.
Yeah.
These guys are next level. They're hackers. They're going to hack you.
I really like the council idea, and I saw someone in chat earlier. I'm not sure if this is my final opinion on it, but I saw them say that all the past winners should maybe vote on the new one. So it's like kind of. But the only thing I was thinking about it before the committee thing, the only thing is then maybe they might be biased. But if it's a big enough committee,
be in a committee with A Money and Low Five feels bad, man, with a gun. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my!
That's Johnny Boy for you.
Throwing out the shot there.
But kind of wrap up this topic, and the best way to do it is we have one of the mods who just sent me a message. I'm going to read this. I'm going to try to read it very quickly because it is kind of long. You type this up in 5 minutes. But the biggest thing to pretext and say before this is not finalized. They would like your feedback. Go to that subreddit. Comment on the clarification post. They want feedback from everybody to make sure this is as fair as possible going on in the future. Okay, so this is from Scheist, one of the mods on the subreddit. So firstly, I want to personally apologize for how the channel of the month was handled this month. We could have done a lot better, mentioned beforehand, to make the rules and guidelines clear to the content creators and the community, and that's completely on us. We plan to revamp it. This is the channel of the month revamp. New categories, up and coming, and channel of the month. In short, moderators get to pick the up and coming channel, and we use the community vote to pick the actual channel of the month. Nomination requirements for channel of the month. Subreddit for over 6 months. You have to be a part of it. Whether it be posting, commenting, etc. So you need to be somebody in the community, and you must have less than 10,000 Twitch followers and or 10,000 YouTube subscribers. Users are allowed to mention that they are nominated, but they aren't allowed to ask for votes directly. So you can basically say, hey, I am part of the channel of the month. I don't know how I feel about that because it's basically the same thing. If I say I'm a part of it, basically it's me implying.
Come on,
it's an implication. So
how stupid do they think that these people's like viewers are? People are like, oh well, congrats, dude, you're nominated. Congrats! I'm so happy for you.
See,
good luck in winning. I hope you get enough votes.
Yeah, like this, I totally see where they're coming from, right? I understand the vote brigading thing, and in a perfect world, yes, that's the fair and true thing. Only the people that see the channel or that are part of the subreddit community go and participate in that. I totally get that with no influence from anyone else. But like, where do you draw the line? How do you enforce that rule? Like, if you're so hard set on this vote brigading rule, then next month and every single other month, it's literally going to be a race to see who can get the most people to go vote with them without getting caught. Like, it's crazy. Like, there's no way people aren't going to be like, where do you draw the line? Do I tell like?
vote or tell people
Yeah.
to vote for them. Come on.
It's like
you're
it's
never
like
gonna
this. So
vote for
BG
something.
summarize. Hey BG summarize it. Chat. Hey guys, I was nominated for the month. Like,
Yep. Yep.
Wink, nudge,
You're
like,
you're DQ'd.
hello?
Yeah.
yeah. So
That was far too
So-
suggestive. Get him out of here.
yeah.
Get
So
him.
for them, vote rating clarification. Vote rating is something that we have an obligation to crack down on since we've been subreddit moderators that have to follow Reddit's own content policy.
They
If
do
we
have a
see it,
policy.
we have to stop it. The interesting thing about this month's nomination thread was that just the sheer number of fake accounts we saw. We have never seen that before, and after running thread after thread without any problems, we were taken a bit aback. We've decided to enforce Reddit's content policy, a decision that unfortunately affected quite a few people after the fact. Our error in judgment was not realizing that this could have happened multiple times before. However, we usually act on community reports, and this thread had a lot of those. It really, really is a tough situation, so a complete revamp is absolutely necessary. Also, please make it clear, I'm not going to read the rest of that, blah, 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 I already said that. So, they want feedback. Go to that thread, comment on it, leave your suggestions there. They're going to take those all into consideration. And that's the most important thing, is getting the feedback that people want about this situation so we can make it as good as possible in the future. And there's still going to be revamps after that. I know you both will 100% agree with me on that. They will
Yes.
keep editing it until it gets better and better, especially if the community keeps wanting that. So,
I guess one of the last things I want to say, if they're going to go in that direction, no vote brigading. You're not allowed to tell anybody. You can't tell your grandma. You can't tell the person next to you to go vote for you. You have to have a committee. The only way to do it is you have to have a
Just
committee.
get a committee already.
Yeah.
Come on.
If that, well, I'm not necessarily saying that's the right solution, but if they're avoiding it,
I am though. It's the right solution. You heard it here first. Get a committee. Enough of this like wrist slaps. You crossed the line. Never that. Yeah,
I would like people to be a little bit more
Johnny
strict on
make
it.
the subreddit.
Don't make me
Hashtag-
in the committee though, because I can't be bothered. And I don't look at enough content that other people make because that would just burn me out. You need people who are hungry to, really find the best content. That could be that. I'm sure lots of people love to do that. Find the coolest video and say, "You guys haven't seen this yet. You need to watch this." That's the kind of people we need
Right.
on that committee.
Mhm.
Make it happen, please.
Make the
Do-
subreddit great again.
So, so guys, make sure you guys go check that out. Make sure you guys go offer your support. Try to be as constructive as possible. No witch hunting, and that is enough of that. But Christian, I would like to thank you. You are not Team Rocket RL, and I apologize for having that up for as long.
Follow me on Team Rocket RL. Go follow their Twitter.
Let's try that. That should
I
be
mean,
you,
my
right?
Twitter.
That should be you, right? You almost did it, man. You almost got away with it.
Almost got
But-
away with it the whole time being disguised as Cole.
Yeah, meddling kids. God. But
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. You guys do
No.
a great job every week, TTT. And everybody throw them a follow. Don't follow brigade them. Don't follow brigade
No,
them.
no, don't ask for follows. That would be follow brigading. We don't want any of that. We don't want any follow accounts. I mean,
you guys are
thank you
ridiculous.
so much.
Yeah.
more than
Christian.
2,500 followers in the next minute or two. I know that you guys have been naughty.
But thank you guys. You guys have been my friends in the scene for a long
Cool
time.
Chaupt72.
It's doing well.
But Christian, if you want to shoot out your information where people can find you, YouTube, all that kind of stuff, I know you're pretty avid in the community. Tell these people where they can find you, and then we are moving on to the community Rising Stars, where we do our little bit of own giving back to the community. So,
That's really
Christian,
awesome. Yeah, just Chaupt72 on everything, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So thanks for having me, guys.
I appreciate you
Thanks
stopping by, man.
Good last minute. It was
Bye.
appreciate it.
Later, Christian.